questions didn't end there. Joining me now is someone who appears in the age of disclosure. Lou Elizondo is a former Pentagon official. He's also executive producer of the documentary. Lou, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I just got to ask you first about what I was talking to Dan Farr about. Two different alien species. Can you tell me anything about them?
Well, what you're referring to was the alleged potential landing of Holloman Air Force Base back in the 1950s, where a vehicle, a craft of unknown origin, had landed at the edge of the airfield and initiated contact with individuals from both the Central Intelligence Agency and the United States Air Force. And if that's the case, think of what the consequences of that, right? That means that somewhere someone had maybe perhaps pre-coordinated or arranged or was aware of this potential landing, enough so that individuals on the base were actually alerted and prepared for and waiting for these craft, right? So that kind of gives you an idea that perhaps there was some sort of dialogue or some sort of communication, perhaps even before that event took place.
That was not something that you have firsthand knowledge about. You weren't there. What do you have firsthand knowledge about?
Well, boy, how much time do you have, Elizabeth?
We've got about 7 minutes.
Okay, so as you may know, I ran the government's program at the Pentagon roughly from around 2010 called ATIP to about 2017 when I resigned in protest.
ATIP is the program that is in charge of studying alien spacecraft and
Yes,
reverse engineering, right?
Correct. Despite, well, not exactly. It was the Pentagon's investigation into UFOs, or what we now call UAP. And it was replaced later by an organization that was called the UAP Task Force, which, by the way, one of those individuals, the leader of that, was also in our documentary. He's also an executive producer, Jay Stratton. And then later on, Arrow replaced that organization. So there's been a lot of people are surprised to learn that the Pentagon, A, studied UFOs, but B, continues to study UFOs and has for a very, very long time.
We know from the documentary that they're not just studying UFOs. You say we're trying to reverse engineer from the spacecraft that we have found, use that technology, and that we're in a secret sort of arms race with Russia and China, who both also have alien spaceships. The documentary reports that the Soviets found a big one back in 1989. Do we know when the Chinese found one, and how do we know that anyway?
Sure. Well, let me give you some more compelling information here, perhaps, that you may not be aware of. Just recently, there was another hearing on the Hill under oath, and one of the individuals to testify under oath was a journalist named George Knapp. George Knapp testified that back in the early 90s, right when the Berlin Wall came down, there was this brief period of cooperation between former Soviet Union and the United States, and he received a handful of very classified documents from Russian generals about their UFO program and the reverse engineering program, and he actually successfully smuggled them out of Russia and brought them here to the United States. So there's a lot of information suggesting that both Russia and other adversaries have their own UAP program. And in fact, China has already admitted it publicly in a newspaper that they have their own UFO program and have been petitioning the United Nations in order to help lead a worldwide investigation. Now, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with China necessarily doing that, but it shows the level of eagerness that some of our adversaries are displaying towards this topic of UAP. Remember, this is a topic that for a long time was really fraught with stigma and taboo. And I think only now we're beginning to get to the point where within the American psyche, we can actually have a serious conversation and not think about, little green men or Elvis on the mothership or tinfoil hats.
A chilling encounter with none other than aliens over a major U.S. airbase in Britain. Pilots described two mysterious fast-moving craft, pursued them aggressively, and then vanished. Newly released police logs and video footage contradict earlier official explanations. A stunning report says that a UK police helicopter came under an attack by aliens. It said the chopper and unidentified aerial objects came within near collision while flying over a U.S. military base in Britain last year. The encounter happened on November 22, 2024, above RAF Lakenheath, a critical U.S. military hub in Suffolk that houses American fighter jets and nuclear-linked infrastructure. According to the Daily Mail, which obtained documents through Britain's Freedom of Information Act, the flight forced a National Police Air Service EC-135 helicopter to take emergency evasive action after reporting the two fast-moving craft. The pilots said they were targeted and pursued over RAF Lakenheath, a major U.S. military installation in Suffolk, by unidentified aerial objects. The pilots also said that they had to steep dive to avoid a crash as the objects matched their speed, roughly 165 knots, for several minutes before vanishing from view. Logs reveal the National Police Air Service crew described the event as an unprovoked pursuit, saying they believed the craft was targeting them. Another police entry states the helicopter had to perform an emergency dive, pursued by two drones matching speed. Nick Pope, who formerly investigated UFOs for the UK Ministry of Defence, told Fox News Digital the episode shows unidentified aerial phenomena. This disturbing incident perfectly illustrates why the UAP issue has gone from fringe to mainstream. Whatever people's beliefs, this is a serious safety of flight matter that demands urgent attention and action. Drone has become a convenient shorthand for anything unexplained that people see in the skies. So we really don't know what we're dealing with here. I hope it doesn't take a tragedy before something more is done. There's chronic underreporting of these sorts of incidents, so the true extent of the problem is likely far more serious. The Daily Mail cites reports of nearly 20 drone sightings across RAF Lakenheath, RAF Mildenhall, and RAF Feltwell from November 20th to 22nd, 2024, including 10 to 15 drones possibly entering base airspace. Aircraft were briefly grounded after multiple near misses. Witnesses using night vision reported 5 to 6 drones, and others described tic-tac-shaped objects, stationary, not birds. Officials initially blamed an American F-15 fighter jet flying nearby, but a UK military insider with access to the 30-minute infrared video says the footage clearly shows craft mirroring the helicopter's movement and performing impossible maneuvers for an F-15. Britain's Air Prox Board, which investigates near misses, concluded in its final report that the crew had mistaken the lights of a U.S. Air Force F-15 operating nearby. Radar data showed the helicopter and jet came within 1,700 feet, and the board reported no other returns. Whether it was drones or something else more mysterious, the lack of transparency is only amplifying fear.